In this video, I'm going to talk about the best Facebook ad campaign structure for you if you want to promote high-ticket sales calls, but also if you want to promote, let's say, something as small as webinar opt-ins. And the truth is, the campaign structure is going to be completely different depending on what you choose to promote. I know there's a lot of gurus on the internet with their little school communities claiming that they have figured out the ultimate way to structure your campaign, but ultimately there's no ultimate way to structure your Facebook ad campaigns. There's always a lot of variables, and most importantly, it depends again on your budget and then also on what you're looking to promote specifically and how much it actually cost to promote that thing, because the way you're going to be structuring your ad sets and the way you're going to be doing your creative testing is going to be limited by your budget, and it's going to be limited by how expensive the item is. And in the next few minutes, I'll actually take you to my share screen. I'll show you some real client examples. I'll take you to a draw board and I'll explain to you how everything works mathematically, because everything ultimately can be figured out mathematically. And in case if you're wondering who I am and why you should listen to me, my name is Nazim. In the last 10 years, I run a marketing agency. We work with high-ticket businesses. In the last 10 years, made our clients over $40 million in sales, which is how I have the ClickFunnels 10x plan, because I took multiple of our clients to 8 figures in sales. So I know a thing or two when it comes to running high-scale Facebook ad campaigns, and let's dive in. So like I said, it ultimately comes down to two things: your budget and then your goal, right? And we have two different cases here. The first one is a sales call, and the second one is an opt-in. Let me be very direct and honest. The more you can be granular with your creative testing, the better it's going to be. You know that if you want to test something properly, then you just have to separate it from the rest of the items and just run it on its own. But the problem is you cannot always do that due to your budget constraints. So yes, in ideal world, you're better off if you, for example, want to test 20 different ads, breaking them out separately and running them at least for a testing phase separately to see which one is going to work best. Because the truth is, absolutely, 20% will outperform the other 80%. But can you actually do it practically? Not always. All right, so now let's have a look at something practical. Let's look at a comparison for when we're trying to promote sales calls, which is usually more expensive, and when we're trying to promote opt-ins, let's say webinar opt-ins, which is usually a lot cheaper, like $5 to $10 tops. And let's say our budget is $500 per day, right? And we want to test 20 ads. Now, one thing you guys also need to keep in mind is that I personally recommend, and this is what 99% of marketers will agree on, is an ad set needs to prove itself within 2 to 3 days of you launching it. You don't want to launch an ad set and then wait for 10 days hoping that it's going to prove itself. And this is what makes all the difference in this logic that I'm going to explain to you. Because if you have something that takes about $200 to get a conversion for, let's say sales call, and if your budget is $500 a day, and let's say you don't want to wait for longer than 2 days to get the conversion, the logical thing to do would be to take the goal conversion, right, that we have here, which is $200. We're going to divide it by 2 days, which is ultimately how much you want to wait maximum to get the conversion, which gives us the ad budget of $100 per day. This means if we'll launch an ad set with $100 per day, we can wait for 2 days to see if it will actually hit the goal cost per conversion, because it will have spent $200. And then that way we can basically say, hey, look, this ad set works, I'm going to keep running it, or this ad set does not work and I'm going to pause it. Now, if your goal cost per conversion is $200 and you don't want to wait longer than 48 hours to get a conversion, which means the minimum you're going to spend on an ad set is $100 a day, and your budget is $500, can you effectively test 20 different ads? The answer is no, you can't. Because if you're going to break out these 20 ads all separately at minimum $100 a piece, that's going to be $2,000, which is way outside of your budget. However, on the opt-in side, you can totally do that because it does not take much to test an opt-in. If we divide it by 2, makes it only $5 budget per day, and at $500 budget, if you divide it by 5, you can test up to 100 creatives, right? So if you want to launch 20 different ad sets and test them for opt-ins, then you can do that. You can probably take $500 daily budget divided by 20, and you can probably launch your ad sets at $25 and see, which ad sets, which creatives get the most conversions. Do you see the logic here? Again, let me repeat myself. Your ability to test things properly and separately is going to depend on multiple factors. And those factors are, number one, ultimately, your budget. Because if your budget is tens of thousands of dollars, then you can probably do anything. Number two, you want to keep in mind that all the ad sets, all the testing that you're going to launch is going to take you maximum 3 days to test. You cannot launch an ad set and say, we'll wait for 5 days to get some conversions. This is not how online marketing works. If you are promoting billboards, and you can do that, I guess, wait for 30 days, invest into billboards all over the country and see, how sales results come out. But that's not how online marketing works. We're very conversion based. And the thing with this rule is also you want to get conversions as soon as possible so that the pixel can start learning as soon as possible as well, right? So there's maximum 2 to 3 days that you can wait to get a conversion. And then factor number 3 is going to be actually how much you're willing to spend to get a conversion, right? Let's say if you're promoting a sales call and your goal cost per conversion historically is $200, that's how much you're willing to pay per ad set to get you the results and the conversions that you desire. And the maximum that you're willing to keep an ad set going for the ad set to bring you the results is 2 to 3 days, ideally 2 days. Well, then that means at $200 goal cost per acquisition, that's $100 per day. And the amount of creatives you'll be able to test depends on your budget. If your budget is $1,000 and the minimum you can spend on an ad set is $100, you can test up to 10 creatives. If your budget is $500, that's only 5 creatives. And if your budget is $300, then I really recommend just cramming everything into one ad set, which is what I'm going to show you in this video. We at our agency specifically specialize in getting our clients booked with high ticket sales calls with financially qualified leads. And this is what we do almost every time. And the reality that we're dealing with in most of our campaigns is the first one. We're running on limited budget, and for us to book calls does not cost $5 to $10. It costs typically close to $100, sometimes even hundreds of dollars. And this is the strategy we would do. As you can see, I'm inside of one of our clients' ad accounts, and this is how we structure all of our ad sets for booking high-ticket sales calls. Click on here, you'll see all the ads crammed into one ad set. This does a couple of things. Number one, it allows us to run 10 plus ad creatives with the limited budget we have for this account, right? It's not an option to break them out, right? Like with 10 different ad sets, it's not an option. It's mathematically is impossible. This client's budget is only a couple of $100 per day, right? And if we want to test 10 different ads and each one books calls at like $60 a pop, we cannot effectively break out each one because that's going to cost us over $1,000 per day in daily ad spend. So instead we cram all of them in one ad set. But here's one more great advantage that no one talks about doing things this way, about cramming everything into one ad set. And this is actually huge. Unless you've been sleeping under a rock for the last year or so, you've probably already heard about the algorithmic changes that Meta has brought in its advertising platform. It's called the Advantage Plus. That's basically Meta introducing its AI learning model to do the advertising targeting, which means that 90% of your targeting has moved away from the ad set level. Back in the day when you would select different interests, like Meta has actually moved away from interest targeting pretty much almost altogether since a year ago. And now what it does is it lets its AI to essentially factor in all the ads that you're feeding that AI, all the video ads, all of your video ad scripts, all of your ad copy. And then it basically lets its AI to run free and get the best conversions at the best price. And this is the prime reason why this model works so well, and why probably even if we, on this account, had thousands of dollars, I would have still done this model. And yes, I am kind of contradicting myself, right? Or at least what I said in the beginning of the video, because what I said was, it's always best to break out ad creatives, to test them separately, to get a very clear answer for what works best or not. But what you're going to miss out on if you do it that way is giving Meta tons of creative diversity and freedom to essentially take each one of these ads, analyze them, and then match them with the mini pockets of audience, of your ICP audience in its marketplace. Because the way Meta does its targeting now is not like it used to. Because back in the day, it used to say, okay, Nazim wants to target business owners who also, let's say, like Rolex, which means they're high quality, right? And I'm going to basically blast all of this audience with these 5 ads. That's it. No segmenting, no nothing. But these days, it's completely different. Honestly, every day I'm working in the ads manager and I'm working with clients. It blows my mind how granular and detailed and good Meta's targeting has become. What it does is, these days, each ad, it matches with its own specific mini audience. And these ads, they're not obviously saying all the same thing. I work with clients hand in hand at our agency to script these, attacking different angles, different hooks, different sort of customer avatars also. Because, for example, this is for BizOp, and we are targeting people who are working full-time. We're targeting people who are already in the beginning of their entrepreneurial careers. They're just looking to scale. We're targeting contractors and freelancers, so all sorts of different people. And we're going broad. Like, this is broad targeting. This is nothing. Literally targeting a country, and that's it. And the placement is also set on automatic, which means Meta decides what platform it shows our ads on, right? Can be Instagram, can be Facebook, can be Meta, can be Threads, right? And what it does is it, again, connects each one of these ads with a mini audience that it sees fit in the big, broad audience that we're targeting. And as you can see here, some of these ads are performing way better than the others. But does that mean I'm going to turn off the ones that are getting conversions at $100 as opposed to $12? No, I won't, because they bring us different sorts of clients. And what we're also doing in the back end is actually every ad is coded with a unique link, and we specifically know which sales call booking came from what ad. So in the long term, we're not just evaluating for how expensive or cheap the lead is, but also how likely it is to close, because we're correlating everything and connecting everything to the actual sales calls that happen and the outcome of those sales calls. And this is how you should run your campaigns if you run a high-ticket business and you're looking to book sales appointments. One campaign, 1 or 2 ad sets that are doing broad. Maybe you can add a lookalike based on your customers list or lead list, and then cram all of them, all the ads, into one ad set. Because Meta, and trust that Meta is going to go out there and connect your audience with your ICP, and you're going to get conversions. Sometimes it even happens so that we will launch literally 30 ads and only one ad is pulling in 98% of conversions. Great. We will keep scaling that ad set for as long as it takes. And then once we start seeing that that ad set is kind of like fatiguing itself and it's not working, we will duplicate that ad set and we will replace that one ad that's fatigued with another ad and run it all over again. And this is how in the last couple of months, really, our ads management process with clients has become piss poor easy, which is fantastic because now we can relocate all of the time we're spending on manually doing monkey work in the ads manager to actually working on other important stuff in clients' businesses, helping the client to come up with the new angles and hooks for the ads and the rich ad diversity. We're helping them to optimize the sales process. We're improving our targeting. We're working with our clients to help them craft new offers. Because ultimately, if you have a high customer lifetime value, you can pretty much spend anything on Facebook and outbid your competitors altogether. And if you'd like to work with our agency, where we'll cover all of your online marketing needs from A to Z, from ad creation to creatives, to consulting you on your business and sales process to scale your high-ticket business, go to nazimconsulting.com, look at all the amazing case studies and client work we've done, and apply for a strategy session with me personally. And until then, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next videos.